Importing to Excel can be necessary, and if you have a data file that is not a comma separated values file, a .csv, or one where you have some problematic things that you need to deal with in bringing it in. If you simply open a CSV file in Excel, just double click on it and pop it open, or go to in Excel and go to File, Open File, and try to open a CSV directly. Excel is going to guess how to treat every column, whether to format it as a number or a date or text. And probably most of the time Excel is going to guess okay, but sometimes it won't. So this sample file of data, this is a CSV file, and I'm looking at it in UltraEdit, which is a text editor. You can see that there's the column headers, and you can see that there's the data year, there's a school ID, here's a district number, a school number, and the enrollment, and this is called a district type. Um, these district numbers and school numbers and such are unique ID numbers that the Minnesota Department of Education uses to identify a district or a school or a type. And they typically come with these leading zeros on them. So I have a lot of other education data with these leading zeros on them. And I need to preserve those leading zeros, because if I don't, it won't match my existing data if I want to do some joining or something like that. So if I were to just open this directly in Excel, Excel will lose those leading zeros, and it will treat these columns as text. So we need to give Excel a little more guidance. So I'm going to close this right now. So Excel, in newer versions of Excel, has changed its import procedure. And so this, if for Windows anyways, I've seen on Macs that it uses more of the traditional format of importing, and it looks a little different, but some of the concepts are the same. So if you've got an much older version of Windows, talking like pre-2015 possibly, or if you have a Mac, this might not apply to you. So what we're going to do is, I have that file stored in a location where I can find it. I'm going to go into Excel and open a blank workbook. And then I'm going to go to the data menu, and up in the upper left corner is the Get and Transform Data buttons. There's a couple ways you can get to this. The Get Data has lots of options for various types of data you can bring in. There's also some quick shortcut buttons for common types, including From Text CSV, which is what we want here. So I'm going to click From Text CSV, and it's going to ask us where that file is. So I have it in, I just told you to put it someplace where you'd remember it. There it is. Here we go. Importing sample data is what I've called it. This is just a chunk of data to give you an idea of how this works. And it's going to bring up this display. It's kind of giving you a preview. It's telling you how it's treating it, that it found the comma as the delimiter. It's guessing data type detection on the first 200 rows. So now look at that district number. Remember, this had leading zeros on it. These leading zeros are gone on these. District number, school number, and district type are the ones we want to save. So if you brought data in and everything looked perfect on this preview here, and you were happy with it, you could simply push this load button and load it, and it will bring it into Excel. I'm going to choose Transform Data down here in the lower right corner, and it's going to bring up a little Power Query editor that is going to let us set the default types. So now you can see here's Excel telling us what it has guessed. The 1, 2, 3 means it's guessed number. ABC means it's guessed text. If there's a date, it'll look like a little calendar. If it's a decimal, it'll have like a 1.1. And if you click on any one of those, it gives you the different options. You can see here's all the different options that it might have. decimal 1.2, sorry. So what we can do is we can, on district number, we can say, no, I don't want that to be 1, 2, 3. I want that to be text, the ABC. So I'm going to change that, and this is say, are you sure this you want it? The selected column has an existing type conversion. Do you want to replace that? Yes, I do. Replace. There, that looks better. Let's do the same for school number. Yes, and then do the same for district number. Yes. And now you can see over on the right side, it is kind of keeping track of the steps that we're doing, so you could undo something at some point. Once you have all of your columns set the way you want, then you, over in the upper right corner, there's a close and load button. You have options. You can say close and load, and it will go into whatever Excel file you currently are working in, or you can say close and load to, and you can specify an exact worksheet or an exact place in a worksheet. I've used this to be able to append data to an existing file where the columns all match. Here we're just going to say close and load. So now it's going to bring it in as Excel's version of tables. And you can certainly continue working with things like this. I don't like working in here because this is not how I learned. So I'll just quickly show you how to get rid of this if you want. So up here, this is in the table design tab, and it should be open when you first get in here. You can say convert to range, and this is going to get rid of that table structure and make it more a regular file like we're used to. And then I'm going to close this little queries and connections box. It still has the coloring here, and so the only thing I found the easiest way to get rid of that is there's some cell styles here. We can say normal, and it'll put it back to normal. And look, our leading zeros are still there. Always remember when you import that this is still, this is not saved. So we should also save this. I'm going to call that import test and do save. Now we have a saved Excel file, and we are done.